Hey, Andre. The game. What's good, YouTube? It's your favorite YouTuber here, Jared, and today, Squid Games, guys. Squid Games is trending everywhere. Squid Games is trending. It's about to become one of the best Netflix series ever, and I never watched it yet. I'm gonna watch it right after this video because it's trending everywhere. It looks lit. Like, I'm ready. Now today we're gonna be reacting to Squid Game ending explained. Now, I mean, I don't think it's spoilers or anything, but we're just gonna get straight into it and just see what, you know, the main thing with it and happening, nigga. Let's do it. Before we get into today's video, make sure you guys subscribe. It really helps my channel go far, and I really appreciate it. All right, let's get into the video. All right, and yes, again, I have a different pair of headphones like every video, but I think these are here to stay. They're Bluetooth headphones and they're pretty loud, so let's get straight into the video. I'm kind of excited for this, but let's get to it.
We got your battle royales, we got your Alice in Borderlands, and the absolute worst of all, High Hell. But a new contender has entered the ring in crazy Asian game shows. Yes, it's Squid Game. Netflix Korea's 9-part drama has more twists and turns than who will become the next Jeopardy host. So in this video, we'll be breaking it all down, looking at some details you may have missed, and going over its crazy ending that I think might be setting us up for an even bloodier season 2. So join the game. Your first task is to like and subscribe, and come with me as we serve up some delicious calamari. Squid Game follows Gi-eun, and yes, you're gonna have to suffer with my terrible Korean pronunciation. He's a down-and-out dad who mooches off his poor mother, gambles away his daughter's birthday money, and is overall one of the most unlucky guys you'll ever meet. This makes him a prime candidate for Squid Game, a competition shrouded in mystery where only the most destitute and desperate are chosen.
I'm stuck with these PlayStation button faces.
The first episode sets up why a man like Gi-eun would voluntarily join such a game. Unlike Battle Royale or Alice in Borderland, contestants in Squid Game are here voluntarily, and can even choose to leave the game should the majority of contestants decide to do so. Because of Gi-eun's financial situation, he's lost custody of his 10-year-old daughter, who's about to move to the US with his ex-wife. Unless he can get himself off his feet and prove to the court he can be responsible for taking care of her, he risks losing her for good. This leads him to a chance encounter with a mysterious man representing the Squid Game, promising an enormous cash payout should he win the game. And because he's so desperate, he joins up, being knocked unconscious with gas and transported to a secret island where the games are performed. Before I really delve into the ending, it's important to know how these games work. There are 456 players, male, female, young, old, Korean, and international. They are also in financial ruin, with some of the players millions of won in debt. Won is the Korean currency. When they arrive in the living quarters, there are 456 bunk bed style accommodations, and they are read 3 very simple rules about the games. 1, a player is not allowed to stop playing. 2, a player who refuses to play will be eliminated. And 3, the games may be terminated if the majority agrees. They're even given these consent forms. However, what the players don't yet realize is that being eliminated from the game means being killed. All of the games are based off Korean schoolyard games. The first one you'll probably recognize in North America too as red light, green light, whereby the caller eliminates anyone who's caught moving during the red light phase. And because the contestants don't know they'll actually be shot dead if they don't follow the rules, it creates absolute pandemonium during this first game, with contestants running in panic only to get shot in the process. In fact, at the end of the first game, 255 of the 456 contestants die. Their bodies are put in these black coffins with a pink bow on them, only to be incinerated by the men in red jumpsuits. The jumpsuit men are basically in charge of keeping order and acting as referees. You'll notice they either have a triangle, square, or circle emblazoned on their masks, and they all wear masks to hide their identities from the contestants and one another. In order from lowest to highest rank are circle, triangle, square, frontman, and the mysterious boss who caters to the VIPs, but we'll get to them in a bit. So with 255 dead after the first game and the remaining 201 traumatized by what they just experienced, they decide to hold a vote if they should continue playing the game. Remember rule number 3, the games may be terminated if the majority agrees, but before taking it to a vote, they're told of the prize pool. Each player is worth 100 million won, which is added to the total price pool once a player is eliminated. If there are 456 players, that means there's 45.6 billion won on the line, which roughly converts to 38.5 million US dollars. The catch is, if they end the game, they get nothing, and the money is split up among the families of those who have already died. Even though there's tremendous risk, a lot of these players have nothing to live for, and the vote ends up hinging on one player, Ilnam, who chooses not to continue. This decision is really interesting since Ilnam is hiding a big secret that ends up being one of the biggest twists in the show, but we'll get to that in a bit. So even though they vote,
this is a spoiler, you guys,
the contestants are given a choice. In a few days' time, should a majority of them choose to come back to the game, they will restart. This occurs in episode 2, which is titled Hell, and Hell isn't referring to the game, but the reality these contestants face in the real world. Episode 2 focuses on the harsh realities these characters face in the real world. Contestant 67, Kang Se-byuk, lost all her money to a man she paid to get her parents out of North Korea. Her little brother Chol now lives in an orphanage, and her mother is still trapped in the north. Ali Abdul is an immigrant trying to raise a family who can't seem to make ends meet. Deok-soo is on the run for double-crossing a Filipino gang, and Sang-woo is hundreds of millions of won in debt for fraud. It's only until they come back to the real world that they realize their problems could be solved by winning the game. As Ilnam tells Gyun,
밖에 나와보니까 그 사람들 말이 다 맞더라고. 여기가 더 지옥이야.
After a few days pass, 93% of the contestants who survived the first game opt to return to compete, even knowing they could die. They are so desperate they are willing to take this risk, and this includes Gyun, who's on the verge of losing his daughter. Over the course of the next 5 days, Gyun and the other contestants will endure 5 bloody games. The second game is titled Sugar Honeycomb, in which the contestants choose one of 4 shapes and must cut them out of a piece of honeycomb. If the shape cracks at all, it will result in death. Game 3 is Tug of War, where the losing teams are thrown over a pit and killed. Game 4 is Marbles, in which contestants play against each other, the winner leaving with their life. Gyun is up against the old man, Ilnam, who he's built a strong friendship with. When the old man wets his bed, Gyun even offers his sweater to cover him up so he can play with dignity. This relationship will become important later on in the video when we get to that final big twist. Gyun survives, making it to the second last game, a treacherous crossing in which contestants must traverse a bridge made of glass, the one which can hold their weight and the other which cannot. I may do a separate video on how to beat these games where I'll go super in depth, but for this video I want to focus on the ending because we're about to take a ride to Crazy Town. Gyun makes it to the final game along with one other contestant, Sang-woo. To make matters worse, the two know each other from real life. Gyun is friends with his mom and would even take Sang-woo to school as a kid. Over the course of the previous 5 games, Sang-woo has been a secret villain. He withheld information that could have helped his friends in the game, denies women from competing on their team, tricks his marble partner into giving him all his marbles by exchanging with him a marble sack full of rocks. This results in Ali being killed. He throws another man over the pit during the glass game, and finally, on the eve of the final game, he kills Se-byuk, fearing she and Gyun will join forces and vote to end the game. The final game is what the show has all been leading up to, Squid Game. It's a pretty simple game where the attacker must touch the head of the squid with his or her feet to win. However, if they can't make it or are pushed outside the bounds of the court, the defender wins. In this version, anything goes, from throwing sand in the opponent's face to using knives. After a bloody battle between the two, Gyun emerges the victor, but in a stunning change of events, he refuses to claim victory. Instead, he offers his hand to Sang-woo so they can leave together with their lives, but with no money. Remember, if they both vote to end the game, they can leave. But in a twist I didn't see coming, Sang-woo kills himself. He'd rather Gyun leave and win with the money than live and have to face the reality of the outside world. A reality where he's lied to his mother about being a successful businessman, and one in which he owes hundreds of millions of dollars after being caught for fraud. You'd think the show would end here. Gyun is dropped off on the side of the curb with a gold credit card containing his 45.6 billion won in cash. But now that he has all this money, it couldn't stop the fact that while he was gone, his mother passed away and daughter went off to live in America. We fast forward a year and Gi-hun hasn't touched a penny from his earnings. The one thing he spent the entire season fighting for has just laid dormant in his bank account. But why hasn't he touched it? Guilt. The money to him might as well be blood money made off the lives of the 455 contestants who died so that he could win. But things take an even more bizarre twist when Gi-hun receives an invitation from his ganbu, the name the old man gave to describe their friendship. But the old man is supposed to be dead. On the 7th floor of the Sky Building sits Il-nam on his deathbed, connected to different types of tubes and wires. He never died in the game because he was the game's orchestrator. As we'll find out, Il-nam created the games in 1988, or at least that's the earliest we see the records go. He was an extremely wealthy man who became so rich that life gave him no more joy. After all, what fun is life when you can have everything in the world? So he and a group of other wealthy people banded together to inject some fun into their lives, creating these deadly games. Now, there is reason to assume that there are different games held all over the world.
That's crazy.
When the VIPs, those wealthy people, arrive to watch the games in person, one of them remarks that the Korean games are the best, suggesting there are others.
Other games,
Il-nam will go on to tell Gi-hun that the reason he participated in the games was to feel alive one more time before he died. But Gi-hun wants one thing answered more than anything else. Il-nam will answer him if he agrees to play one final game. Outside across the street is a homeless man, a man likely to die from the cold if no one helps him. If, in the next 25 minutes, no one helps him, Il-nam wins and will take everything Gi-hun owns. If someone does help the homeless man, Gi-hun will take Il-nam's life. The entire game revolves around the question, is man inherently good or bad? Il-nam believes no one will help, and even asks Gi-hun why anyone can be good after he witnessed all the horror and dark side of humanity he experienced in those games. But Gi-hun believes someone will come and help him. He has to believe there is some goodness in the world. And just before the time is up, the homeless man is helped, right at the same time Il-nam passes away. Sometime later, we see Frontman at Il-nam's side, hinting that he will take over as the next head of the Korean games. We don't know much about Frontman. His brother, a detective, snuck into the games believing Frontman was held captive, but during his investigation finds out that his brother won the games back in 2015 and is Frontman himself. It's never really explained how Frontman went from Squid Game winner to Il-nam's henchman, but it may have something to do with Il-nam's statement that those who are rich have no joy, since Frontman would now be a multi-millionaire. Gi-hun's encounter with Il-nam changes his outlook on life. Instead of letting the guilt of the past eat away at him, he decides to do something good. He changes physically, shaving his beard and dyeing his hair. He visits Chol, Sae-byok's brother, leaving him with Sang-woo's mother and millions of dollars in cash. He says it's the money he owes Sang-woo, so we can assume this is half of his winnings, or roughly 19 million US dollars. While on the subway, he finds the same man who recruited him to the Squid Games over a year ago. He's a bit too late to chase him down, but obtains a new card to enter the next set of games. Gi-hun is ready to hop on a plane to the US to see his daughter, but the weight of knowing another Squid Games will occur and hundreds will die weighs heavily on him. At the last minute, he calls the number and asks to play. The receiver on the other end tells him to forget it and just get on the plane. They likely know where he is because every contestant was given a tracking chip before the start of the game, and Gi-hun decides not to get on the plane. We aren't sure where he's headed, whether it's to play in another games for Season 2 or try and stop the games from occurring at all. He's now loaded with money that might come into play as well. But if I were a writer on the show, I'd want him to get back in those games and, armed with the knowledge of playing before, try to get the players to cooperate and win together instead of constantly backstabbing each other. Either way, it leaves the options for a Season 2 open with many different possibilities. But I want to know what you thought of Squid Game. Should it be canceled or renewed? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, everyone. Remember to like and subscribe, and for more bad takes, you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at ThinkStoryYT. Until next time, remember,
that's Squid Games, ladies and gentlemen. That seems like a great show. Lit. The whole idea seems good to me. I gotta watch this. And yeah, there's a couple spoilers, but I can still sit down and watch that. I just wanted to know the whole hype, the big deal about it. yeah, if you guys enjoyed the video, make sure you guys comment what you guys liked about Squid Game if you watched it, and if you do watch it, just tell me what's your favorite part. And that's Squid Games Explained. So yeah, all right guys, I'm gonna see you guys in the next video. Make sure you guys punch that like button and subscribe. Peace.